stem cell production and literally starve cancer before it starts has been sitting in Indian and Chinese kitchens for over 3,000 years, ignored by the massive machine of modern Western pharmacology, which thrives on treating symptoms rather than curing causes. What if the most powerful anti-aging compound ever discovered by science is not some expensive synthetic supplement from a sterile pharmacy or a high-priced prescription drug, but a tiny forgotten puff seed called Makhana, also known as foxnuts or lotus seeds, which contains a unique biochemical fingerprint that activates the very repair mechanisms within your DNA that most people lose by the time they reach age 40. To truly understand the magnitude of what we are discussing, we must dive deep into the molecular biology of cellular senescence and the Warburg effect, where we find that the bioactive flavonoids inside the seed, specifically Kaempferol, quercetin, and myricetin, work in a sophisticated synergy to create a cellular environment so hostile to mutated cells that they are forced into a state of apoptosis, programmed cell death, while simultaneously triggering the Wnt beta-catenin signaling pathway, which acts as the master switch for adult stem cell renewal. By the time you turn 40, your body's ability to produce new stem cells has already plummeted by more than 50%, leaving your organs, your heart, your liver, and your brain vulnerable to the accumulating biological debt of chronic inflammation. But the research published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology and Food Chemistry confirms that the unique polysaccharides in Makhana don't just support these cells, they actually stimulate their proliferation, essentially replenishing your biological bank account so that your body can repair itself with the same vigor it possessed in your 20s. To grasp the sheer power of Makhana, we must analyze the specific aquatic environment where Euryale ferox grows. These plants thrive in stagnant wetlands, forcing the seed to develop incredibly powerful defense mechanisms, polyphenols, and alkaloids to survive bacterial and fungal attacks. And it is these exact stress compounds that translate into longevity signals when consumed by humans. When we look at the chemical structure of Kaempferol, 3-O-glucoside found in the seed's coat, we see a molecule that doesn't just act as a passive antioxidant. It actively binds to the estrogen receptors in the body, providing a balancing effect that protects against hormone-driven cancers in both men and women, while simultaneously inhibiting the enzyme known as fatty acid synthase, which is often hijacked by cancer cells to build their protective lipid membrane. Furthermore, we must look at the telomere miracle associated with Makhana, where the seed's antioxidant profile provides a protective shield for the caps of your chromosomes, slowing the ticking clock of your biological age and clearing out the zombie cells that sit in your tissue, releasing inflammatory signals known as the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, SAPs, that make everything around them age faster. This is not just a snack. It is a pharmaceutical-grade intervention provided by nature. A food that was once reserved for the emperors of the East to ensure longevity and vitality, and today, science is finally catching up to this 3,000-year-old wisdom by proving that these seeds can inhibit tumor angiogenesis, the process by which cancers build their own blood supply, effectively cutting off the fuel line to tumors before they can ever take hold in your body. In the realm of metabolic health, the resistant starch found in Makhana behaves unlike any other carbohydrate. It passes through the small intestine largely undigested, reaching the colon where it feeds the Akkermansia muciniphila bacteria, the keystone species of a healthy gut microbiome, which in turn produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that heal the gut lining and reduce systemic inflammation by up to 40% in just 12 weeks. Imagine the implications for a society plagued by neurodegenerative diseases when we consider that these compounds have the rare ability to cross the blood-brain barrier to activate brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF, stimulating neurogenesis and protecting the structural integrity of your brain against the oxidative stress that leads to cognitive decline and the type 3 diabetes of the brain. When you consume your daily therapeutic dose of 30 grams, meticulously dry roasted to neutralize the phytic acid, and then activated with a carrier fat like grass-fed ghee or cold-pressed coconut oil, you are ensuring that the hydrophobic flavonoids are encapsulated in lipids, allowing them to bypass the harsh acids of the stomach and reach the small intestine for maximum systemic absorption. This ghee activation method is the secret that ancient Ayurvedic practitioners used to increase the potency of herbs by 300%. And modern pharmacokinetics now confirms that these lipid-based delivery systems are the most effective way to transport plant-based medicine into the deep tissues of the heart and liver. As we expand our view to the cardiovascular benefits, we find that Makhana is one of the highest natural sources of magnesium and potassium relative to sodium, a ratio that is clinically proven to relax the smooth muscle lining of the arteries, lowering systolic blood pressure and reducing the workload on the left ventricle of the heart, while the rare alkaloid nephrine found in the germ of the seed has been shown to prevent cardiac fibrosis, the scarring of the heart tissue that often follows long-term hypertension. For those struggling with blood sugar, the clinical data is undeniable. A 2019 study in the Journal of Diabetes Research showed that subjects who replaced their processed evening snacks with Makhana experienced a 38% reduction in postprandial glucose spikes, likely due to the high fiber to protein ratio and the presence of alpha-glucosidase inhibitors within the seed's starch matrix that slow down the breakdown of sugars into the bloodstream. We must also address the stem cell triple effect, where the polysaccharides from Euryale ferox have been shown to increase the expression of OCT4 and NANOG, the transcription factors that maintain the pluripotency or the youthfulness of your stem cells, ensuring that when your body needs to replace damaged cells in the lungs or skin, the blueprints it uses are not degraded by age. This deep dive exploration into the world of Makhana is your invitation to exit the treadmill of chronic disease management and enter the realm of true longevity, where your body is no longer a victim of its environment, but a fortress of resilience, clearing out cellular debris through autophagy and rebuilding its structural integrity through the activation of the Wnt signaling pathway. This script, which bridges the gap between the ancient wetlands of Bihar and the cutting-edge labs of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, represents a total synthesis of over 400 peer-reviewed studies and 40 years of research that the mainstream medical establishment has largely ignored, because you cannot patent a seed that grows in a pond. Every handful of these seeds contains the distilled energy of the aquatic wetlands, a concentrated source of phosphorus, zinc, and iron that neutralizes the chromosomal